Our house in the middle of our house in the middle of.
We are back in our second set, and we now have a chance to meet with our featured guests. Leslie Philippe is the owner of Thyme Place Café, which, for people who have seen it off the corner of Morganton and Old US 1, is that beautiful building that sits back behind in the field where they used to sell the Christmas trees with the beautiful metal roof. And Leslie, good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
My office is right down the street from Thyme Place Café. I get more people that ask me, what's going on there in that building? Because the building has a history, and it is, I was in there last week for lunch, and it is a beautiful building. The renovation is stunning. People come in there like, what? They remember it from before.
Right.
How did you find it?
Well, I was working on this project with another gentleman who had found the building, and I saw it for the first time 2 days before, 2 days after I had moved into the area. The building was extremely large, and it was being used as the owner's personal storage unit.
Right.
So there was a lot of furniture in there. There were pool tables. There was a piano.
Right.
And the vision, it took a while to get the vision, but I thought that eventually this would be the right place for the community kitchen and Thyme Place Café.
Tell me a little bit. There's such an entrepreneurial spirit in Moore County. And the month of January has got to be a retailer's worst nightmare. You're after Christmas, you're starting tax season, the weather's turning cold, and everybody is trying to get from here to there to get into February and into the spring season. It's a restaurant. It's a place to socialize, to meet friends. Give me an overview of what you are trying to do with Thyme Place Café.
Well, the feel that I was looking for in the facility is a feeling of calmness when you walked in.
Right.
And I achieved that by having a small salon or living room area right when you walk in. And the layout and the decor is very simple, yet it is engaging. And everything has a story and history to it. And I think that even if you don't know about it, you get that feel when you come into the cafe.
Yeah, I would describe it as very civilized. You can hear yourself think, you can hear yourself talk, and yet you can. It's also it's very social. People come in and they greet each other, they know each other. It's a small community, and your background was in you were in the food industry in a different capacity.
Correct. My background is in large-scale food manufacturing. I ran a dairy operation. I built an ice plant. I built a large commissary for a grocery store.
Right.
So everything was production, big quantities, bringing product basically from the farm to the consumer via the production model. And so I was that middle part.
So you've kind of evolved, and you how did you get here, by the way, to Moore County? You're not a native.
No, I'm not a native, and we found this area because we were looking for a community that was small, yet it had a lot of amenities,
right.
And we wanted a horse property. So we found Moore County, and it took a while for me to feel comfortable here, but I'm just about turning the edge and feeling comfortable.
How long has Thyme Place Café been open?
We opened in August of 2015.
So my prediction would be that by August of 2016, you're probably going to know about 300 to 400 more people than you know today on a first-name basis. That's what happens in Moore County, don't you find?
Absolutely, and I was looking for that. And not having a job or being part of the community, I felt very lost when I came here.
Right.
And so I started baking out of my home, and that allowed me to meet more people. and then the cafe evolved, and I would say I know a whole lot of people now.
That's right. The renovation was completed. You took possession, I guess, in August, and people who are finding out about the restaurant become regular return customers. But like anything else, we talk about Southern Pines as a very eclectic town, quirky in a good way, lots of nooks and crannies. And one of the enchanting things about the location of Thyme Place Café is it's kind of out of the way a little bit, but right off the main road and very close and very visible from the road. Everyone who drives by Bank of America or Pony Expresso right there on the corner can just look over to the right, and people do all the time as they go up the hill, and they see this really attractive building, and everyone wants to know, what it is. So that road right behind the Shell station is Bell Avenue, and the access to get in is right there, and it has a feeling of a private club almost.
Just to take off on your idea of what goes on in this community and how you become a part of it.
Yeah.
I think that people that move to the Southern Pines and Sand Hills area, I call them reverse pioneers because they have been out in the world, they've traveled, they've had their career, and they've had their experiences, and now they want to slow down their life, and they want to make the choices in their lives as to what to do.
Right.
So they come to Southern Pines, and there's all kinds of experiences and all walks of life here that really allow for you to feel a part of it. And about the location, it's kind of interesting because when we were painting the sign on the back of the building, we did it at night at the edge of an unbelievable rainstorm, and we projected the image onto the back of the building, and we started painting after the storm, and people just started showing up at the restaurant. And at that same time, we were trying out recipes, so we were just feeding people, and that's how it grew. So that sign has been a very wise investment in terms of marketing.
And right now you're open for breakfast and lunch, but you also do group events as well.
We do group events in the evening, and what I'd like to do during the winter time is start a happy hour and serve some hors d'oeuvres. So again, it becomes a meeting place.
Yeah.
And I'm working on that project, hopefully for the end of the month and starting into February, just to see how that goes.
You mentioned the concept of community kitchen, and you brought a guest with you. Can you talk a little bit about the concept of community kitchen? And we want to introduce Jennifer at the same time.
Sure. As I was baking out of my home, and I need to make a comment in that is that I could not bake myself out of a Duncan Hines box when for
Duncan
years.
Hines, I haven't heard that name in years.
Well, I was not a baker. I mean, I'm a food scientist. I can molecularly think about food and put products together, but baking had just evaded me. So I decided to start teaching myself how to bake, and of course I started with some of the most difficult items, which were French pastries. And when that took off and one oven in my home just wasn't sufficient, I looked for a kitchen to rent, part-time or off hours, and I looked everywhere, and it just didn't work out. So when this building became available, I knew that was an opportunity to offer myself to grow as well as other entrepreneurs who were in the same situation that I was. And that then begat the cafe, because the cafe needs to support the entrepreneurs who are selling their product through the cafe.
That's that concept of it takes a village, and you bring a lot of talented people together under one roof, and the beneficiaries are your customers.
Yes.
Who get to come in.
Yes.
You brought with you a chef, Jennifer Karlowitz. Good morning.
Good morning.
We talked briefly before the show. You're originally from Iowa.
I am.
How'd you get to Moore County?
The military brought us.
Okay. But your background, experience, you've been through Phoenix, Washington, D.C. You've had a lot of experience at many different levels of the. tell us a little bit about your past before we get to talking about time and place.
I got a 4-year degree in psychology and realized I couldn't do anything with it.
I did too, and couldn't do anything with it.
My father said, "You've always liked to cook. There's a culinary school in Scottsdale, Arizona, where he was living at the time. Come down and go to school." And I did, and that began my journey in culinary arts.
How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business for 10 plus years,
Wow.
and I've been blessed to work in some amazing cities: Kansas City, Phoenix, Washington, D.C.
How did you hook up with Leslie?
I decided I didn't want to work 10, 12, 14 hours a day in restaurants anymore.
Right.
And with our schedule in the military, it just wasn't feasible.
Yeah.
So I chose something that I was good at, which was making stocks and broths and soups.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to start a small business, but I didn't need the brick and mortar building. I wasn't going to be that big, especially to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Leslie, I started to look around to see if there was a kitchen that I could rent. And I ran into the same problems Leslie did. And she and I came across each other, and we've now known each other for a year and a half or more.
Tell me the name of your apothecary.
The Apothecary
I
Company.
love that name.
Isn't that great?
Right off apothecary. I think that's such a cute name because that does explain a lot.
It does. Broth can be a wellness tonic. It does so many things.
Right. You are committed to good foods, health, diet, and so many people here are, and there's such an undercurrent of a theme of wellness, and part of what you do is tied into that as well.
Very much so. When I moved here, one of my friends was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay.
And she went on a very radical diet in addition to traditional medicine. And she asked if I would be a personal chef. I'm a Le Cordon Bleu trained chef in classic French cuisine. I did not know how to cook the way she needed. I gave myself a crash course in healthy cooking and healthy eating, and I just became hooked. The more I studied, the more I read, and the results that we saw in my friend from changing her nutrition, it was just amazing.
Yeah. We're going to come back in the third set. There's a lot happening under the roof of Thyme Place Café that sets it apart from a lot of standard restaurants. It's there is a social atmosphere, there's a health, there's almost something organic about what you put together, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the menu, we're going to talk about future events, and we want to talk a little bit about the types of foods and things that are offered, because it's not just a place to have lunch. We're talking with Leslie Philippe, Thyme Place Café, one of the most interesting and invigorating restaurants on the scene in Southern Pines. We'll be right back.
She's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down, and a mess is not allowed. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house in the middle of our.
We're back in our third set with Leslie Philippe. We're talking about the Thyme Place Café on Bell Avenue in Southern Pines. I love some of the ideas you guys were bringing up with the community kitchen. Tell me a little bit about the food. You're open for breakfast and lunch, and I've been in there for lunch a couple of times, and so I can attest, but I'd rather hear it from you than from me.
Okay. Well, I developed the menu with a woman who had a catering business in West End. Her name was Goldie Toon. She had a place called Goldie's Gourmet for quite a few years. And we developed the recipes together, and that was a real good sense of enjoyment for me, because she would make something, I would tweak it, and vice versa. And the end product was something that was just a really nice combination of both of our inputs, and it comes out very nicely on the plate. So our concept for the food that we offer is really to try to offer product that's healthy. People have familiarity with it,
Right.
but we take them just a little bit over the edge to understand that you can do something out of the box.
Right.
Food is really a coat of arms, and a coat of arms has descriptions to it. It has a history. It has a story. So the food that we present, it all has a story to it, either how it evolved, or if it's regional, or if it is a particular ingredient that we're trying to educate people about.
Right.
And something as simple as our crackers. We make crackers that we serve with our soups, and we put za'atar on it, which is a Middle Eastern spice blend.
Delicious.
And people really have enjoyed it, and we just did that on a whim, and now I think we're committed to making these crackers forever, which is fine. But we also like to let people know that there are other products that we offer besides meals, and that includes a pretty robust baking case, a bakery case. We had a baker show up from Alaska, and I was doing the baking with another chef, and she just took over, and she's wonderful. So we all still have our own specialties that we put in the bake case, but that is really her frame, and she just fills it beautifully every day. And a few months ago, we started carrying a line of frozen products from a vendor called Ladyfingers in Raleigh. And they started, I believe, about 50 years ago making ham rolls. And about 15 years ago, someone bought the business from the woman who made the ham rolls, and they expanded their product line. And last year, they just got USDA certification to be able to sell products outside of their catering environment. And so we now carry a line of frozen foods. They're meals to go, and they are just delicious. And if you would come to the cafe today, you would see that the case is empty. So that's testament to the fact that they are there is a market for it, and people are enjoying it, and we need to get it refilled.
Yeah, the meals to go concept is a very good concept because people can pick things up on their way home from work on the run, and these are gourmet foods, meals, all pre-made.
And Jennifer also sells her broth out of the cafe.
Yeah, I think the name of Brothicary is, I'm just so taken by it, and I think it just speaks volumes. The food, just to give you an idea, the ingredients in all the foods, from the soups to the salads to the quiches to the sandwiches, they're all outstanding. The tuna, I had a tuna, I don't know what, it was delicious. It was almost like, instead of calling it a sandwich, I would call it almost a pastry. The seasoning, it was just so tasty. And the prices are no different. Just give me an idea on the parameters at lunch and breakfast, because it's very reasonable.
Sure. I believe our price points are acceptable to the community because there's value in it.
Right.
And I would say for breakfast, it's $5 to $7, and the highest line item on our lunch menu is $10.
Yeah, that's more than competitive. It's a great value, and there are lots of different choices that people have, but you have the right combination of the atmosphere, the food, the value, and the health aspect, Jennifer, which we'll be talking about in a minute. But one of it's also a great meeting facility that can almost become like another part of your business, and in that regard, you are wanting people to know that you will have groups for breakfasts, business meetings, any sort of gathering, and or even in the evening for private parties.
Correct. We had one really nice party back in September, and it was catered by Jen, and she did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And everybody was very happy.
Uh-huh.
And we had a holiday healthy meal lecture by a physician in Pinehurst and a nutritionist it was beginning of December. And that was excellent. It was very well received.
Yeah.
And just last week we had another meeting from the Festival of the Trees. They did their overview of the entire
How did that go?
It was great. There were 30 people, and we served them a brunch, and they ate. We cleared their plates, and they went to their meeting.
Tell me about your breakfast.
And it was great.
Tell me about your breakfast.
What's popular from our breakfast menu are a few gluten-free items, which we offer. That includes a timbale, our Mexican crustless quiche, and we also can make fried eggs. But we think our egg items that we offer are pretty robust in and of themselves.
Uh-huh.
We also serve fruit. We make our own creme fraiche. We have yogurts. We make our own granola that goes on the yogurt.
Uh-huh.
And we also have a couple of specialty quiches that we make throughout the week. And then for our baked case, we have these wonderful orange morning muffins, some mandelbrot, which is really a biscotti,
Uh-huh.
and anything else we feel like coming up with on that given day.
For groups, what kind of seating capacity do you have?
For groups, a seating capacity is 55.
Uh-huh.
Stand-up is 111.
Wow. And yet it's got that civil, it's just a very civilized, when you go in there, it's also very peaceful. And it's sort of like away from the maddening crowd, which is a nice feeling. So your Facebook presence, is that the best, is that the way you are marketing the different events or the potential group sales right now, people to become aware?
Yes, we are. And I mean, that's a good venue for us to do that, as well as on the website.
Right.
But I would say that what's brought us a lot of customers is Yelp. We've been number 1 or 2 on Yelp.
Mm-hmm.
TripAdvisor, where I think we're number 3 or 4 in the town. And, it
Wow.
varies. But everybody has given us very good reviews.
Yeah.
So the social media aspect of it was something that I had not really invested in, and it's been amazing as to how it has grown through social media, and that sign painted on the back of the building.
Right. Jennifer, one of the things about the restaurant that appeals to me is the fact that it would lend itself perhaps to events like theme nights of different types of foods from different countries, different cultures. With how many chefs are there that come and work at Thyme Place Café?
3 that I'm aware
3
of.
right now. There are probably people who are out there who are listening who will say, I do this, I should come down and look, and they should, Leslie, talk to you.
Sure.
And you would tour them around the kitchen, and but the idea of a theme night would go beyond the standard fare of most restaurants. And, in this area, you've got some eclectic places to eat, and you've got some of the big box restaurants. But you guys have your own little niche.
That's right. And there's a concept called a pop-up restaurant, where a guest chef will come into a restaurant and they will prepare their menu, and it'll be by invitation only to dine there. And it's a one-night event.
Right.
And that's great for theme nights. It's great for exposing the cafe and the chef who is hosting the event.
Yeah. Just a couple of thoughts come to my mind. A vegan event, I think would have a lot of draw in our area. A Middle Eastern, and I'm not talking about the store-bought hummuses and baba ganoushs that you buy. That, from my upbringing, I wouldn't put them on a saltine cracker. There's a difference between the real thing and the thing that passes as American fare. That's not what we're talking about, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah, a Greek, Middle Eastern, Asian. People, I think, are very drawn to get things that they might not otherwise get in the area. Do you interact with the customers when they come in? do you talk with them? Do they? Because I would think it's almost like it's a proving ground where people can talk and communicate. How did you do this? How did you make this? Just talking about your craft.
If I am part of the event that's going on, if I'm the chef,
Right.
or if I'm helping with the event, yes, I absolutely do. If I'm in the cafe cooking
Right.
and I happen to go out into the dining room,
Right.
I'm very happy to speak with folks about what I do and about the cafe and about the community kitchen. The community kitchen, I just encourage anyone who is thinking about starting a small business, is wanting to be an entrepreneur. I encourage them to reach out to Leslie and to investigate this
Right.
community kitchen concept.
Yeah. You think, I loved your email to me last night. You think a lot of her, don't you?
I do. She's
Yeah.
she's become a
Oh,
mentor.
yeah. I could
and-
read it in between the lines.
But we complement each other. She is a very good businesswoman. She's an excellent baker.
Right.
I'm just a cook. I'm a very good cook.
Committed.
Can I
Yeah.
say she's a little more than a cook?
Yeah.
No.
Mutual admiration
She
society.
leaves my kitchen cleaner than I gave it to her, and my kitchen's usually very clean.
Yeah.
So, no, I have a lot of respect for Jennifer. And one of the things that I spoke with Jennifer about when she was wanting to come to the cafe and use it is that if you have a product, that's wonderful, but you have to have a distribution plan, you have to have a marketing plan.
Right.
You can be the best at making something, but if you don't have a market for it,
Right.
then it can be it can be a real downer
Right.
because you need to create that market first.
And
Right.
that's where Leslie comes in with her expertise. She can help someone like me who doesn't have that experience. I believe in my products. She can help me get those products out through her cafe and through just her expertise in business.
Right. I keep thinking about the group concept and how many different groups. One of the groups that comes to mind for me has been a guest on the show, the Pinehurst Newcomers Club.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting people who come in from the Midwest, from New England, who settle anywhere in Moore County, and they plan events all over Moore County, and it's a great way to meet people. And your place is set up as a social network in a way, but for the generation that can walk in and instantly appreciate it, as opposed to just a place to go to grab a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
And the Newcomers have a group that approached me just last week about having an event there, I believe in March. And I'm trying to get the Newcomer breakfast group to
Right.
come.
Yeah.
Because I know where they meet now, and we can get them in a nicer environment. So.
People around here love their breakfasts. For whatever reason, breakfast seems to be, I don't know, it's an early to rise and early to sleep community, and people love their breakfasts. And brunches, have you thought about Sunday brunches?
I've thought about trying to have a Saturday brunch, and if that works, I would do it on Sunday as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that we can put the product out. I'm just trying to figure out where I can get the market to come. I mean, how I can get the customers to come to a brunch.
Right.
Of course, it'd be my social media and advertising. But if I could get a group that would want to book a brunch, I think it could grow from there.
Why, I'm just curious, why Saturday instead of Sunday?
No particular reason.
Okay.
Just because we're already open on Saturday.
Oh, there you go.
But I could do a Sunday brunch as well.
Yeah.
It would just, involve a little bit more planning on our part, because usually on Sunday we're prepping for the next week. I do my orders for Sunday.
Right.
And I sleep an extra hour.
You're not allowed. You're in the restaurant business. You're not allowed to take a day off.
Right.
People don't understand how time-consuming the business is. I mean, it's a 7-day-a-week ordeal, many hours, lots of sweat, lots of love, and being a successful restaurant requires a tremendous amount of commitment and grit. So, I mean, I applaud you because I love people who are entrepreneurial, who are proactive. But you have to reinvent yourself every couple of months, every season.
Absolutely.
You can't just
Absolutely.
keep selling Hallmark cards 12 months a year. You have to. One of the things that I notice about individual independent retailers is many of them have too limited of a product base. They are almost like Johnny One Notes. They don't have enough variety and diversity in their product, and they can't just survive on one very sharp, specific theme. You know that. I know you know that.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. And one of the things that I think helps me to always reinvent myself is that, and a lot of entrepreneurs are like this,
Right.
we get bored really easily.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, if I see something on the menu for too long, I just want to change it.
Change it up.
You know, we can't change everything because there'd be a little bit of a mutiny. But I just like change, and I like to do things just a little bit differently.
Yeah. So if people want to give you a call at the restaurant, you're on Facebook under Thyme Place Café, and people can just like you there, and they can call the restaurant. Your hours are?
We're open from 8 to 3. Currently, breakfast is not very robust. So what I've done since the beginning of the year is have the bakery case full. You can come in for coffee. If you want breakfast, that's fine. It's almost like being in your own living room. But at 10 o'clock, we have everything ready for lunch as well.
Okay. There are over 650 nonprofit organizations in Moore County, and they eat and they meet, and might be a great, and they're networked in the community, and we've been fortunate to have many of those groups on, and I'll be glad to share with you some of the people, because I think if people get in there, I think it's getting them in that first time to see what it's all about, and I think you both have done a great job of just painting a picture. Imagine you walk into a piece of art. You walk inside the frame and you're inside the picture. And that's what the feeling is like when you walk into the Thyme Place Café. It is. So, I mean, kudos to you. And I wish you well. We'll see you down the road, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Jennifer,
This is great.
the Apothecary, I'm never going to forget that name. The Thyme Place Café is quite an intriguing place to go to eat. I encourage you to go in. You won't be sorry. The prices are very reasonable, and the atmosphere is civilized/casual. We will talk to you next week. This is All Things Moore County. Thank you.
She's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down, and a mess is not allowed. Our